This is the story of 1917, when the war was going on in Germany. We German soldiers see soldiers whose screams are heard everywhere. There were corpses everywhere. Everyone was scared. In between, we see a young soldier. The soldier was very young, who was scared looking at corpses all around him. He is sitting in a place after seeing such a situation. Then a soldier comes to him, who says that you cannot sit like this. You will have to fight with us. Now that soldier gets up and goes to the battlefield with everyone else. That German soldier killed the French soldier for the first time. Time goes by like this. Now many corpses are shown, which belonged to those soldiers who were killed in the war, which was going on between Germany and France. In these corpses, there was also a corpse of that boy, who was very scared some time ago, whose corpse starts to rot. That's why all the soldiers' corpses are locked in a coffin. And then one by one, uniforms were taken off from everyone's bodies. And those uniformed clothes are sent back to the city so that the clothes are washed and the new soldiers are given these clothes again. In the meantime, we see the city, a boy named Paul, who was very fond of becoming a brave soldier who wanted to go to war. Now he also comes to the place where the army was choosing soldiers to fight. He also fills his form and gives it to them, but his dad's signature was not on his form. Because he knew that his dad would never allow him to go to the army, so he very cleverly signs his dad's signature and joins the army with his friends. Now all the soldiers chosen are gathered in one place. The general comes and tells everyone that being a soldier is a matter of great pride. Everyone was even more excited to hear this. Now everyone is given the same uniforms that they had taken off from the bodies of the dead soldiers. Paul and his friends were feeling proud wearing the uniform of a soldier. They were feeling that I don't know how good a soldier's life is going to be, and how good a day his life is going to be. Now all the soldiers will be taken to the Western Front, which is located in the north of France. Now all the soldiers go to the Western Front. They are told that they have to get off the truck halfway and start their journey on foot. When these people start walking, the bombs started exploding on the ground, which the soldiers of France had hidden. They all lie down. They are told to quickly put on their masks because they can be attacked by gas, which is a dangerous gas, which can lead to death. Then they start putting on their masks. In the meantime, Paul sees that his friend, who was not wearing a mask, when Paul was helping him to put on his mask, he was late in putting on his mask. At this point, his senior shouts at him and says, "Look, help someone else when you put on your mask first." After this, they all move ahead. When they reach the base, the situation there was very bad. The base was full of water. Everyone is told that they have to take out water from here. Now they neither had a bucket nor any other things. That's why everyone takes off their helmets and starts taking out water. Here, Paul meets a man who tells him about the situation here. There, his friend who came here and saw such a situation was very worried. He tells Paul that he didn't know that such situations happen in war. "I can't stay here. I have to go back to my house." But now there was no use of such a thing, because these people could not go from here without fighting. In the same way, it is nighttime while taking out water. Now at night, they are given the responsibility to guard the border. When Paul was guarding with his friends, he was completely unaware of the fact that a bullet could be fired here. Then a bullet hits his head and he falls down. He thinks that if that bullet had not hit his helmet, he would not be alive today, because he had escaped because of his helmet. After a while, the bombs started falling here. Not a single person runs away. All the soldiers go to the basement and hide. Bullets were fired all around. Paul's friend, who was coming here and regretting, he gets very scared. He was screaming and saying that I have to go back to my house, but there was no one to listen to him. Then, when his friend starts going out, a bomb blasts in his legs, because of which his body was cut into pieces. This scene was very scary. After seeing this, everyone was even more scared. Bombs also start exploding. Because of this, everyone thought that the basement was going to fall. So as soon as possible, they have to save their lives and get out of here. Everyone leaves now, but Paul does not go. After a while, the basement falls. Now everyone thought that Paul died in that basement. When the soldiers come in the morning and remove the wood, Paul was still alive. Then they take Paul out and put him in a place. Again, the same man comes in front of him who had met him here for the first time, who gave him all the information about this place. He knew that Paul would be hungry. That's why he gives him a piece of bread to eat. Now, a soldier comes here and tells Paul that you can't sit idle like this. Collect the batches of all the soldiers who have died, on which their names are written, so that we can inform their family. When Paul was collecting the batches of all the soldiers, then he also gets the spectacles of his friend, the friend who was very scared. When Paul goes a little ahead, he finds his dead body. Seeing this, Paul started crying, but he knew that he could not cry much. That's why he starts doing his work. Time was passing like this. Now the soldiers who had died, their batches, an officer was entering their name on the register. And he goes and tells his senior officer about all this, whose name is Matthias. That officer says, "Sir, more than 4,000 soldiers have been killed. We should stop this war, otherwise I don't know what will happen." Matthias was thinking after listening to him that after all, how to stop this war. Matthias now calls all his senior officers and starts the meeting. There, Paul and his team were being sent from one place to another place to another base where they had to live with other soldiers. There. They come to know that there is a farm nearby, from where Paul and his partner steal the watermelon and bring it and cook it and eat it. They had eaten so much good food after a long time, and then everyone was sitting and stealing potatoes in the evening. That's when they see some French girls going to the base, who were very beautiful. Paul's partner goes to them and shows them a strange dance so that they can impress them, and goes with them. Then after a while, letters come from all the houses, which were being distributed among them. Paul's partner, who didn't know how to read and write, comes to Paul and gives him his letter to read, from which Paul comes to know that he had a wife and a child, but the child died because of some disease. At night, the same partner who had gone with the girls comes at night and tells them the whole story, and shows a handkerchief of the partner and the girls, which he had brought with him. In the morning, they get the news that 60 more soldiers are coming, but they had not reached their base yet. Everyone was worried, so Paul goes to find them with all the soldiers. After all, where did those people go? When they reach the station looking for them, the train from which they had to come, they feel the spread gas there. When they go to the room near the station, they also find out that 60 soldiers were killed because of the spread of gas, because they had removed their masks before time. Seeing the corpses of such 60 soldiers, everyone gets scared. On the other hand, in Germany, we are shown a senior head to whom a soldier comes and tells that the 60 soldiers whom we had sent to war, they were also killed. We should stop this war now. But the head says, "No, I can't stop this war. I don't like defeat. Now send all the remaining soldiers to the Western Front, and if necessary, gather more soldiers." On the other hand, we see Matthias, who was very worried because of the soldiers, because everyone was dying, so he wanted to stop this war somehow. He was in these efforts that somehow he talks to the government. There Paul and his team are shown, that everyone has to go to the Western Front. The head has ordered everyone to get ready for the war. Matthias had also succeeded in gathering everyone. He talks to all the officers. He tells them how badly wars affect the country. That's why we should end the war. He had prepared all the reports. All the officers signed on it. The war was stopped, but a French officer did not sign. He says that he will talk for 75 hours. Matthias gets angry on his words. He says that after 72 hours, I don't know how many innocent soldiers will die. But that French officer does not listen to a word, and he keeps insisting on his words. On the other side, Paul and the other soldiers are told to go towards France. This is what these people do. And all the French soldiers who come on the way, they were killing everyone one by one. In the meantime, Paul and his friends reach their kitchen. They reach the kitchen where they found delicious food. Everyone was shocked to see the food. They hear strange sounds. When they go out and see, the French soldiers brought huge tanks. When they fire at them, they realize that their bullets will not affect them. Because those tanks were very strong, they were slowly moving towards them, and they were killing the German soldiers one by one. That's when the German soldiers came. They put a bomb in those tanks, because of which the tanks were also blasted. But the French soldiers now had fire guns, because of which they were now leaving the fire and killing the German soldiers. In the meantime, Paul's friend is also in their custody. He apologizes a lot. He even surrendered himself to them. But the French soldiers burn him alive and kill him. Paul was broken to see all this. There, Matthias gets a report prepared by France, in which he said that there are some German officers who don't want the war to be ended. Matthias now talks to other officers about this. He says that we will have to end the war. One officer says that if we do this, then France will take over us and take over. But Matthias says no. Now we just have to compromise. There, in the battlefield, the French Air Force attacked the German soldiers. They were firing at them with bullets and bombs. Then Paul falls into the water due to the explosion of the bomb, and he shows himself as if he is dead. That's why no one attacks him. Now, when he starts to get up, a French soldier sees him. He starts to fire at him. That's when he slipped and fell down. Paul now catches that soldier, and he hits him with his knife many times. But he doesn't die. That's why Paul now puts mud in his mouth, so that he dies because of holding his breath. Later, he realizes what he is doing. Now he tries to save that soldier's life. That's when Paul gets a picture of his wife and son from that soldier's pocket. After a while, that soldier was also dead. Paul tells him that I will definitely go to your house and tell your wife that you were a very brave soldier. Now, after which, Paul goes back to his base where everyone was happy and celebrating the victory. Paul goes to a comrade who was injured. He gives him the same handkerchief that he got from the French girls. He tells Paul that another comrade of ours was killed. Now Paul goes to his other comrade who was very happy to see. He came to his wounded comrade with his food. That wounded comrade who had stolen a fork from him and starts hitting his neck because he knew that he would not be alive. That's why he killed himself, and after a while he dies. Paul's other comrade tells him that I have heard that the war is about to end. Paul says, okay, but I don't think so. Matthew is shown there, who had taken permission from all German officers to end the war. But France does not sign those papers and says that the war will go on for another 6 hours. That's how it happens in the morning. We see Paul, who goes to the farm with his comrade so that he can steal something from there and eat it well. Paul goes inside the farm while his comrade was guarding it from outside. But the farmer's son saw him who shot Paul's comrade who was in his stomach. Paul was worried about his comrade and says, "Come on, I'll shoot you." His comrade says, "No, just give me a cigarette and take me to the base. That's where my treatment will be done." Paul does the same. When he was taking his comrade, he saw a car full of soldiers on the way. They were very happy because the war was over. Paul asks them for help, but no one helps him. When he reaches the base with his partner, the doctor tells him that his partner is dead. Paul says, "How can this be? A bullet was only in his stomach. How can he die?" The doctor says, "Because you delayed his arrival. The bullet pierced his liver, causing the poison to spread in the body." Paul is very sad to hear this. This war had snatched all his partners from him. His last partner is also killed. After this, he is ordered to reach the head. The one who had not yet given up tells all the soldiers that we still have some time left. We have to attack France and kill them somehow, but half the soldiers do not believe this, because now they did not have to fight any war, but still they have to accept it, and they reach the base of France and wait for 11 o'clock. But before that, the French soldiers had attacked the German soldiers. Paul sees that a French soldier is killing a German soldier, who was an innocent child who had just joined the army. Paul saves him and comes to the basement fighting the French soldier. Then a French soldier came from behind and stabbed Paul. Then it is also announced that the war is over. Paul, who was injured, slowly moves forward so that he can see the scene after the war. He came out and fell down, the boy whose life Paul had saved. An officer comes and tells him to collect the batches of all the dead soldiers. Then the boy meets Paul again, who was now dead. He had the same handkerchief that his wounded companion had given him. The boy takes the handkerchief from Paul's hand and puts it around his neck, so that he can remember Paul all his life. He saved his life. So this was the story of Paul. The poor boy felt that after becoming a soldier, his life would be happy. But he did not know what difficulties he would have to face. And so many of our brave soldiers are standing on our border, who are putting their lives in danger and protecting our lives. And with this, the story of this film also ends here.